understand here. You know, it started a year ago. It started with a bunch of people coming together and recognizing that the impact of rising costs in Virginia, the impact of Virginia that was no longer respecting parents, the impact of neighborhoods that were no longer safe, it was making it harder and harder and harder for Virginians to do exactly what we want you to do, which is to live and work and raise a family in the best state in America. That's what we're after. That's what we're after. And we rallied together. Virginians came together, and truly last year you were electrified. You came together for a better Virginia. You came together to lock arms, to dismiss the politics of yesterday, and to demand something better. To demand something better. And that's exactly what happened. Virginians came together, and it sparked a movement that, yes, emanated across the entire nation, but it started at the kitchen tables in Virginians' homes. That's where it started. You know, when we sat down together and we talked and we had a chance to listen about those issues that were most concerning to Virginians, all of a sudden, what was a campaign became a movement. What was a movement became a national spotlight, and that will continue this year in 2022. And when we sat down and listened, and when we took a moment to use our 2 ears, not our mouth, what we heard over and over again was business owners who are unable to handle the pile of regulations and the rising taxes. We heard parents say that our schools don't want me to have a say about my child's education. We heard families say we can't keep up with the rising cost of living. It is eclipsing our paycheck, with grocery prices going through the roof, gas prices beyond our reach, utility bills ever escalating. We heard school children say that they lost 2 years of education because schools were closed. They were forced to try to learn from home over a computer screen. Friends, this is what we heard over and over again. And those historic Virginians, they came together. They said, you know what, folks? We are going to make a change. And the change that they so courageously undertook was to trust an outsider. To trust someone who honestly had never held political office before. And I will forever be grateful for you all hiring me to go work for you in the most extraordinary moment where every day I wake up and I get to work for Virginians. Thank you so much. You also elected the most historic ticket in Virginia's history. Winsome Sears is our Lieutenant Governor. Jason Yarnes is our Attorney General. A new majority in our House of Delegates. And together, we are all committed from day one to deliver on a kitchen table agenda to push Virginia to know where she must be, the best place to live and work and raise a family. I can't tell you what an honor it is to serve you, what an honor it is to serve with Jason and Winsome, what an honor it is to serve with our Speaker, Todd Gilbert, what an honor it is to serve with our state senators on the Republican side. And you know what? The political elite doubted that we could deliver on the promises made. And I'll tell you something very clearly, when someone doubts me, we work twice as hard. And to their great surprise, even though we told them ahead of time we were going to do it on day one, we went to work and we signed executive directives, we introduced bills, we introduced budget amendments to deliver on a day one game plan. A day one game plan to lift up education, to back the blue, to cut taxes. And boy, did we cut taxes. $1,100 for the typical Virginia family in year one. The budget that I signed this morning, officially this morning, contains $4 billion in tax cuts. That's 4 times any legislation that's ever been passed in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And boy, is it needed at a time where Virginians are struggling. You know, the Biden economy weighs heavy on all Virginians. We see inflation. The silent thief stealing hardworking Virginians' paychecks. And this $4 billion goes a long way, but it doesn't go far enough. We see inflation at a 40-year high. We see Virginia families stretching and having to ration because of continued rising prices at the pump and in the grocery store aisle. But we took some important steps. We eliminated the state's portion of the grocery tax. We increased the standard deduction by 80%. We declared the largest tax rebate in the history of Virginia. And still, it's not enough. We want more. And we're going to go to work every day to deliver more. Our job is not done. It is not done. And for veterans, we did something incredibly important, because I want every veteran in Virginia to know we want you here. We want you here. So at 55, we are building to $40,000 of our veterans' retirement benefits that will be excluded from being taxed altogether. Veterans, we want you in Virginia. As I promised on election night, this budget that we signed today contains the largest education budget in the history of Virginia. Raises for teachers, much needed, investing in facilities across Virginia, investing in special education programs for Virginia's kids with disabilities, investing in a tax credit program to provide choice to Virginia families in their schools. Investing $100 million in lab schools so that parents can choose the route for their child within the public school system. Friends, this is a giant step towards making sure that Virginia's kids and families can choose their own path versus having it dictated to them by a bureaucratic school board. This is so important. But we know from decades past that it's not just money that is needed in our education system. And so we have a never-ending commitment to raise standards of excellence in our schools, to raise the floor and the ceiling so that Virginia's kids can live their dreams, get the best education, understand what it means to, in fact, learn how to think, not what to think. This is the Virginia school path of the future, And this budget gives us everything we need to deliver it. This is a historic day in Virginia. Every day, this past year, these past 5 months, remind us all something that started right here in Virginia. That parents matter. Parents matter. When it comes to explicit materials in the classroom, when it comes to deciding whether your child wears a mask, these are decisions that are made by parents in the Commonwealth of Virginia. That is what we have to do. In fact, it's been 126 days since Suzanne and I stood on the steps of the Capitol with hundreds of Virginia kids. And I signed that bipartisan legislation, empowered parents to make decisions for their children. And I have to say, if there is a day in the future that will make me feel as proud, I'm not sure what it will be. That was a great day in Virginia. When families sit around the kitchen tables in Virginia, they worry about the future. They worry about rising inflation and whether their children are going to be able to afford a life in Virginia. But they also worry, unfortunately, every day about the safety of their communities. Virginia is at a 20-year high in murder rate. We see violent crime escalating. And that's why I am so proud that in this budget is $400 million to provide much-needed raises of a historic proportion for our law enforcement heroes to invest in training and equipment to make sure that they have the preparation and the tools to do exactly what we know we need to do. Increase police presence, arrest and prosecute criminals, and keep them in jail. That's what we know we need to do. I have to say that when you in fact see appointed officials and elected officials who are supposed to uphold the law violate it, that is unacceptable. And that's why on day one I promised and I fulfilled my pledge to fire the parole board and reform the way the parole board works. With this historic investment, with this reforming of our parole board, with a new commitment to back the blue, we will make Virginia's communities safe again. We will. One of the most important aspects of this budget is the $45 million that was inserted in this budget to provide for school resource officers at every school in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Every parent in the Commonwealth should feel confident and should never worry that their child will come home from school just as safe as they were when they put them on the bus or dropped them off in the morning. We're working every day to make Virginia the best place to live and work and raise a family. And so many companies are choosing to grow in Virginia. On day one, we declared Virginia open for business, and then we went to work. We went to work reforming regulatory frameworks. We went to work recruiting companies. We went to work in this budget to invest up to $150 million in getting sites ready for companies to move so that the next Raytheon, the next Boeing, the next Lego can choose Virginia to build their workforce. Today, just 4 months after we started, nearly 80,000 Virginians have joined the workforce. More than 80,000 Virginians are working today that were not working in January. Friends, this is Virginia getting back to work. This is Virginia open for business. This is a Virginia that lifts up opportunities for all Virginians to chase their dreams and to do it right here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Together, we're getting this done. Together. Together, we enacted historic tax cuts. Together, we made record investments in education and public safety. Together, we stood for greater accountability and transparency from a government that works for you as opposed to telling you what to do all the time. And together, we are building a society of opportunity, a society that recognizes that our job is to enable our children to live their dreams. This is the Virginia promise. This is what we are doing together. And while I'm extraordinarily proud of what we together have accomplished, there's still more to do. Virginians voted for more tax cuts. Virginians voted for more investment in schools and in law enforcement, in behavioral and mental health. You know, out of all of this budget process, I'm most disappointed that Senate Democrats could not 3 times find a way to vote yes to suspend the gas tax in Virginia. They had an opportunity to do what's right, to do something that we can readily afford in Virginia, to give Virginians a break at a time when the Biden energy policy is driving up gas prices beyond anyone's belief. And so this summer, when Virginians go to fill up their tank and they see $4.90 a gallon for gas, they're going to think about the Senate Democrats. When businesses have to cut back on their delivery staff because they can't afford diesel gas, and all of a sudden customers are complaining because deliveries are late, I want them to think about the Senate Democrats. They had a chance to do what was right, and they put petty politics at a time when the White House is even calling for suspension of the gas tax. All good ideas start in Virginia. They had a chance, and they didn't do what was right for Virginia. Well, hear me now. Our administration, we are working every day for you in order to make your lives better, in order to make Virginia the best place to live and work and raise a family. I just want to close by saying that when we come together, when we in fact set our collective vision on a goal, there's nothing that Virginians can't do. We in fact have this spirit of liberty that flows through all of our veins, the spirit that comes from a Virginia that was the foundation of the principles of our Constitution, of our Bill of Rights, the foundation of a land of opportunity that lifts up all men and women, all of us. And we know from the farms in the Shenandoah to the beaches in Virginia Beach to the coal fields in Southwest Virginia, all the way to the banks of the James, to those amazing, amazing markers that line the fields of Arlington Cemetery. We are Virginians. And when we put our mind to a goal, when we collectively work towards lowering taxes, improving our schools, making our neighborhoods safe, creating great jobs, creating a government that works for us, friends, we can do it together. These past 5 months have been extraordinary. These past 5 months have proven that our day one agenda focused on those most important kitchen table issues, is an agenda that Virginians support and we can achieve. But guess what? We are just getting started. And day 2 is right around the corner. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you. God bless you all. God bless the Commonwealth of Virginia. And let's go to work.